This is part 3, finishing up our payroll report project. And we're going to put in some totals and we're going to make our format prettier, and then we're ready to see how we would print from a spreadsheet. Okay, so let's do a couple different things here. I think that I would like to know the total amount of sales that my employees completed. So I'm going to go to first cell A16 and I'm going to type the text, the word total, with a colon and hit return. And I think that that would make more sense if I had that. I'm going to boldface first. And I think it would look nice if I went to the home screen and I chose Right Justify. So you've seen aligning the text to the right. So I'm going to Right Justify. And that'll make a nice header here to explain what I'm going to do in cell B16. In B16, I want to do a sum of the values above. Now, we could get that from formula, or we could actually type it in. So you might say, if you're a good typer, you might say, I know what to do. That's an equal sign, and then the word sum, and then parentheses, the first cell, colon, the last cell, and then a parentheses. So you might get to know the formulas so well that you can type them in for yourself. And let's hit the equal sign and see what comes up there. $378,000. I'm not sure that there's any sense in spending a lot of time trying to type the formula yourself, but it's a good reminder that it starts with an equal sign. And the series, you put a colon between it. Start of the series, end of the series. I'm going to delete that cell and put in how I probably normally would. I would go to the Formulas tab, and I would go to Auto Sum. And as soon as we click Sum, Excel kind of guesses that we want to add up the column. So Excel saves you a lot of time by predicting what formula. And if you didn't want to add all of those, then you would just click and drag a different. So when I hit enter, there's the value we expected. Okay. I think I would also like to do the sum. It doesn't make too much sense to add up the target goal or the hourly wage, but we might want to have totals. We might want to have the total amount here that we are paying for our payroll. So I might say payroll total as a little explanation here. A label is what we might call that. And I'm going to do Control B to make it boldface. And I'm going to go to the home screen and align it to the right, or Right Justify it. And then I'm going to do Formula, and I'm going to sum this column and auto sum. And that's exactly what I want, so I hit enter. And ooh, that's not what I expected. What did I do wrong? Let me delete that and try it again. Auto sum. And I think I had my cursor in the wrong spot there, so that's exactly what I want. And I hit enter so I can see how much my payroll for that week or that month or whatever it would be, 12,874. So I think this looks like a weekly payroll amount. Okay, we can do some more formatting. We could highlight these terms, for example, and under let me see where I want to go. Under Home tab, we could say that we want to print this as money. So if we click just this dollar sign, or if we do the pull down, you can see that we could label this with euros or English pounds, but we want dollars, US dollars. So you might like to see it in dollar format. I think we knew it was in dollars, so you might not even choose to put in that dollar sign. If you do that, you might say, well, now that looks a little cramped, so I might make that column a little wider. So you might not always like how those dollar signs look. So you could do Control Z. I'm going to undo 2 steps. So the Control Z, I think I knew it was in dollars, so I could leave it this way. You might say for some reason that these 2 columns, instead of having them be right justified, you might say, I think I'd like those values to be centered. So you could hit the center alignment. So you could do different formats. and you can experiment with those in different programs. I think that I might want to add some color here. I might, first I think what I want to do is remove. Let me actually show you this one step at a time. So what I did here was I just clicked on row number 1 and it highlighted that whole row. And now in the home ribbon, look for delete. So I can delete this row. So I already used the payroll rules, and I could click and drag so I could highlight all 3 of those rows. I really don't need them anymore. Those were just part of my directions. So I could choose delete, and I can delete cells or I can delete the entire rows. Okay, so that's really all I needed. Here's a nice feature that we could use here, because now I think payroll report isn't centered very nicely. So what I might choose to do here is to merge the cells and center the text. So merge and center is what I want, so I could just click this button, or I could see what my other choices are. So merge and center, and you can see how that makes the report look nice, because now I no longer have those grid lines. I could do some color formatting here. So let me highlight my column headings, and you may or may not like what we come up with here. Remember that you could choose different choices of colors. I think we already talked about that in page layout, that you can pick your color choices. So I think we could pick whatever looks good here. Solstice, I'll pick the solstice choice of colors. So now when I go back to the home screen, my text colors, I think I always like red, so I'm going to choose this deep red. But this paint can is the fill icon, so behind that red I might pick whatever color you think looks nice here. Let's go with this light green or maybe a light blue. That might be nice without being too overpowering. And then we could put a border around that. And this icon gives you all different choices of borders, and you can experiment with these quite a bit. So I might choose to have a, let's say that we want a top line and a thick bottom border. So let's see what that would do. And when I click off, you can see what it looked like. But I don't think I liked the color of that. So I'm going to go back there, and on that border I'm going to change. Notice the line color was this orange color. So I think I'm going to go change and do a line color of, a nice deep blue color might look good. And it didn't change, but it gave me this pen symbol. So if I go over the top of that line, and if I go over the top of this line, and then when you hit escape to get rid of that pen, you can keep the pen to do some more things. If I hit escape though, then I get back to my cursor I was expecting. And you can experiment with those. I can go back there and I could say, what I would like to do is change the style of the line, so I could make it thick line or whatever you want to change. And then I could do that to the bottom but not to the top, for example. And I can click escape to get from my pen back to my spreadsheet cursor. So notice it gave me a thick bottom line. What else might you do? You might go down this column and you might choose to boldface or do some other change to those. We probably would want a line across the bottom before our totals. So let's highlight those cells. And let's put in just a bottom border. So maybe a bottom double border might look nice there. And we can choose the color. We think we would want it to be that same dark blue we chose before. And then I can take my pen and draw over the top of it and hit escape to get back, so we can see that we're getting closer to what we want. You could choose whatever you want to do here. You could make these, you could fill in I'm not sure you would want to. Let's maybe not fill in there. Let's maybe just fill in our totals. We might say, let's choose that same shading for these cells so that it draws people's attention to them. And you might say, I would like to do a border around those. So you could choose a border on the outside of that region, and you could click over here and do a border around that side. Oh, and it looks like I made a mistake here and changed my text color. You see that I changed my text color here instead of, I wanted to choose the paint can. So let me get back where I was. So we wanted our text was black here, but it was the paint can that we wanted to choose that shading. So you can fix your mistakes easily enough if that happens. So you could do all sorts of formatting. Okay, now the other thing that I want to talk about that we do all the time in computing is the sort feature. So it doesn't make sense to me to have them sorted this way. I think I want my employees alphabetical. So I need to do the sort feature, and first I'm going to show you the mistake. If I just highlighted the names, well, let's think about this. Washington is getting a paycheck for $950 and Jefferson is getting a paycheck for $850. If I sort only their names, it's going to give them somebody else's paycheck. So if I choose sort, and I'm in the home tab, sort and filter, and if I choose sort A to Z, it thinks I showed the highlighted section. That's what I'm telling it to sort. Look at how smart Excel is. Excel says, are you sure you only want to sort the selected data? Because none of this other information will travel with it. So let me say continue the current selection and show you how bad this would be. So if I continued sorting just that highlighted information, it sorted the names alphabetically. But the problem is that it didn't keep the paychecks with the correct person. So I'm going to undo. I can either choose the undo arrow up here, or I can do Control Z, the keystroke. And now I'm reminded why I put 2 employees with the name of Adams. So very quickly I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to add. I'm going to insert as quickly as I can. I'm going to insert a column and give these guys some first names. These employees, I shouldn't say guys, I'm going to give them first names here, and what I want to do here is make sure that this Adams, his first name is Bob, and this Adams' name is Al. Okay, let's give our other employees just some random names. I don't care what you put in here, really. Alice, Jane, we've got a Tom, and we got a Carol. All right, so now if I want to sort by their last names, now we know the thing that we should do to fix this is not just highlight their names, but also highlight all of their data. So we are going to select the entire chart, but not the column headings. And we're going to go back to sort and filter. And now I'm going to choose custom sort. And I can say what I want to sort by. So on this pull down menu, I want to sort by their last name, which is my name column. Now you might want to sort by their total pay. That might be because you might want to find out who's earning the most and who's earning the least. But here I'm going to sort by their last name, and I'm going to click OK, and you'll see that it almost sorted everything the way it should. It sorted their last names. We don't have any complaint with that. It sorted them, and notice, by the way, that their paychecks went with them. The problem here is that I only sorted their last names, so Bob Adams should not come before Al Adams. So an advanced search, and this happens almost every time you do a sort in computers of any sort, that you need to sort on more than one column. So I go back to sort and filter, I choose custom sort, and yes, I wanted to sort first by their last names, but now I want to add a level And the second inside sort should be by their first name. So you're saying put the Adams at the top of the list, but then go and look at the next first name column, and then we're going to put Al Adams ahead of Bob Adams. So we're doing a level sort. First it's doing by the first column, then by the second column. And when we click OK, you can see that it changes and put them in the correct order that we wanted to, and their paychecks, all of their data went with them. And that is almost all. I guess the only thing we got to talk about is what if you want to print a hard copy. So we go to File menu and we choose Print. And the standard is to do a portrait layout. And the problem here is that it didn't all fit. So it tells us that we're going to have more than one page. We can scroll down and see that the second page gives us the leftovers. That's not terrible, but I think we could easily fit it on one page if we changed from portrait orientation to landscape orientation. We could also change the margins and so on to make it fit, but this looks perfectly fine here if we just change from portrait to landscape, and then whatever printer you're connected to, ignore the name of the printer here. In the Door Lab, it would say that you're going to print to the Door Lab printers. And then we would just hit the print button. And I'm not connected to a printer, so I'm not going to show you that. So I can hit Escape to get out of any feature. And now notice this dotted line shows me where the page would cut off. So the dotted line shows you that we could have fit in a little bit more and it would still print on the page. All right, so that's enough for one project. You should send me your file and you should print it and give me a hard copy.